This is a first-hand account of the adventure that I embarked upon and have returned from in the past 2 weeks. The story begins with the breakup that I had. I went into a dark period. I questioned everything about my worth. I questioned everything about what it had to do with me and love. In this period of questioning, there was a person online that I was listening to. She gives intuitive readings, and her messages helped me very much. So much so, to the point where her messages would sometimes move me physically, and I would feel inspired to practice my martial and energetic arts with a newfound vigor. Initially, I did not know that I liked this person. I was just very grateful for her messages. Then, I heard one of her messages about love. About how love is a reflection of ourselves. And whatever that we perceive ourselves to be worthy of is what we will receive in a relationship, in love, in a partner. This had me thinking and reflecting upon my previous relationship where I felt very unworthy and I was working to earn love. Shifting things to see that I am already worthy of the love of my dreams, that I can be accepted for who I am, that I do not have to alter myself in order to then be loved. I began to also see the traits and characteristics of who my ideal partner would be. And it turns out that those traits and characteristics I saw in this woman. So on April 3rd, I took a deep breath and I sent her a message. I sent her this message while I was out on a journey. I was on a quest to acquire a sword, a weapon. I made myself known. I made myself seen. And what I had learned in my past experiences is that the best thing that I can do is express myself with resoluteness, with clarity, with conviction, and understand that the result is not in my hands. I also came to learn that it is paramount that I express myself without condition, again, without condition. So this is what I did. I expressed myself to her. I expressed gratitude. I expressed who I am. And I expressed what I saw in her. I expressed I saw potential partnership between us, and I expressed that I leave it up to fate. From that day on, there was one day where I left a message for her that touched her heart especially. It was this day that I began to realize that there could be something here. Now, there is a matter of timing. Here's the thing about timing. Time is a construct. It is not necessarily a concrete, real thing. what creates timing and what is, in a sense, more real than timing is resonance. And that is what I felt. I felt resonance. And if it is anything that I learned, it is to stop holding myself back. Just let myself be. I used to feel as if I was too much, and now I know that I'm not. I may be different, yes. An active volcano among dormant ones, let's say. And if that's who I am, then that's what I will be. So things progress. They progress quickly. I am tormented in this period of time, however, because this level of expression, this level of newfound confidence, that I must act first before feeling secure in it, meaning that I must act on it even when I feel insecure about my standing, about my place. I was tormented. And one day, I asked for a sign, and I received many. I received signs that were undeniable, pointing towards us two, and I shared them with her. Now, throughout this time, she was interacting with the messages and the pictures that I was sending her. She was reciprocating, and there was a spark. So then we progressed more. After about a week, I feel a whisper in my heart. Why did I feel this whisper? The day prior, this girl had actually, in response to one of the signs that I sent her, told me, "I love you." So the next day, as I was on a hike in the woods, coming back from a waterfall, communicating with Spirit, seeking guidance, I heard the whisper to book a plane ticket to go to her city and to go see her. There was not an obvious way for me to know where she lived, but I'm very observant. And so I figured out where she lived. And the first thing that I did when my phone had service again, after coming out of the woods, was book that ticket. I showed this to her. And ever since I did show this to her, she started going silent. She was still looking at the images and the messages that I was sending her, but she was no longer interacting. This sent me into a spiral. I became exceptionally afraid, and I began to question myself, my own worth. I began to wonder whether I was too much, whether I should pull away now to protect myself. But I understood. I understood that those were the old parasites that wanted to live on through me. And to purge them, I had to hold them in their wholeness, in their entirety, which also means to bear their sins, to bear their wounds and their weight, and let it move through me. And so I spent several arduous days, sleepless nights, documenting also my journey and sending those documents to her as well. I chose that I was all in. I chose to dream big. I chose to believe and to know that no dream is ever out of reach. Because the universe contains infinite potential, and within us each, a mini universe contains that same potential. It only must be realized, and then it can be ignited. I could tell that she was pulling away. Again, this was excruciating. All the signs overwhelmingly pointed to resonance between us. Soulmates, I believed. It still may be. Only time will tell. I had never felt so sure of anything ever. And I felt a love that was more real than anything I had ever felt. Some nights I would only sleep 2 hours. There was one night I stayed up because I couldn't go to bed. I cleaned my entire room, channeled what I was feeling into art. Even though I could sense that she was feeling overwhelmed, I understood. I'm no longer grasping. I'm no longer trying to curate to another person, to cater to them. No. I am being fully myself in my entirety, letting that speak and letting that be the mirror that shows whether a person is for me or is not for me. Then comes the fateful day of my departure. I traveled under the pink moon. The moon of love and relationships. I went to the airport. I took the flight. I landed in her city. And my first destination was a park. It was a park that she was there 3 or 4 days prior to my arrival. Again, there was no explicit sign that that was the park, but I am observant. So I found it, and I arrived. And I notified her of my presence. I understood. Anything could happen. Her silence could have been preparation. Or it could have been withdrawal. Only when following through with my heart could I know for sure. I stayed at the park 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours I stayed at the park. Until it got too cold and I left. I was heartbroken, yet I wasn't surprised. I had brought gifts as well. Plentiful, bountiful, in the richness of the intention that went into the procurement of these gifts, into the affection contained within each object. The whole time, as I was in this new city, a new part of the country that I've never been before, I was playing it by ear. You see, taking this pilgrimage to go see this princess was the largest leap of faith that I've ever taken in my entire life. I was absolutely trembling on the inside. I felt as if I was dying on the inside. I truly and honestly did not know how I was going to make it through. But I chose this path because I decided that I was ready to step into my true self, to embody who I really am, and to put my trust in the divine. And so, the whole time in this new city, where I stayed, where I went, it was all through the divine. I did not plan. I simply listened. And the messages were everywhere. The first night, I booked a hotel. While I was in the hotel room that night, I wrote to her. And I also wrote to her the morning after. I understood that my time there was longer still, and that things yet were not over. I knew that she could feel overwhelmed, yet in her silence, I did not fully know her position. And so, I tried something new. I told her, let's get coffee. Something slower. Something less overwhelming. I also informed her of the gifts that I got for her that were originally intended to be a surprise. At this point, I had not yet revealed the contents of the gifts. She declined. Not explicitly, but through a short message where she mentioned the word boundaries, where she mentioned that she felt overwhelmed. Much information was gained in that message, yet it was vague still. Nonetheless, I continued forward. With a shattered being, I continued forward. I reflected on how I took the form of a wildfire, a supernova, and how I could also morph that shape into a candlelight, into a hearth. And so that I did. And I wrote her, too, to inform her of this, and to thank her for her information, however little, because it helped me to understand how I can shift to accommodate her needs while still honoring my own fire. As always, no response. But that was okay with me. Because I wasn't there for any guarantees. I was only there to leave my heart out on the stage, to give everything that I had until I could no further. The day goes by. I sent her a letter about my travels. I understood that many of the letters that I sent her prior were emotionally deep. And I figured it could be a nice change of pace to send her a letter that is playful, adventurous, just about what I discovered in this new city, in this new part of the world, what I found interesting, how I was having fun. Again, no response. Then come the day after. In the evening before the day after, I realized that I'm feeling sadness.
Yeah, it does.
I had done a hot yoga class, which had stripped my outer layers, the layers that were holding on to hope, positivity, the dream, still alive, even if by a thread, revealing a well of sadness underneath. Sadness at her silence. Sadness at the ambiguity. Sadness at the whiplash that I experienced. From professions of love on one week to cold stoicness in the next. I sent this letter to her too. Come the next morning. I understand that morning that I do not have much left in me and that it is time for me to return home soon. This was yesterday. And so I sent her a message. I say, I understand you probably don't want to meet. That's fine. I'm still sitting on these gifts. I got them for you. And no matter what happens, I'd like you to have them. Is there a way where I can give it to a friend, or I can leave it somewhere so that it can make its way to you? Then I go skating. As I'm skating, I send her some videos of me skating. Why? Just for the purpose of sharing. And I felt called to by the divine. During this time, I find that she blocks me on social media. And I have a moment of stillness, of silence, of release. I understand that it's finally over. And I felt sad, but I felt happy. There's a word called bittersweet that means a sad happiness, but what I was feeling was a happy sadness, and that, the word is sweet grief, and I was feeling sweet grief. The night before, I had asked the universe for a sign. I had cried out to say, give me something concrete tomorrow. Give me closure, because I cannot take it anymore. And that is what I received and I had sweet release. That is what leads me to the message that I sent her today, which I have shared with the world. As a final balancing act, a final closure to say all the things that were not said in the silence. To list the reflections and learnings that I had encountered throughout this time. Because I had grown stronger immeasurably during this time. And I understand now that the point was never the result. I knew this going in, but I know this experientially now. Because the level of depth that I've carved for myself within my own heart now is unlike anything ever before. The way I now am able to confidently sit within myself, affirming of my power, of my unique expression, my unique energy signature, and to express confidently, without fear of driving anyone away, knowing that the fire that comes through me is a lighthouse that draws those who are meant to come closer and warns those who are meant to go further. In this journey, I have become crowned. In the beginning, before I left, it was like a fairy tale story. I was a prince. She was a princess. And I was traveling far away into a foreign land to go meet her and have her hand. Yet truly through this pilgrimage, through this journey, through this becoming where I have reckoned with myself, I have faced the deepest abysses of my own inner being. I truly have become a prince, not because I have a princess, but because I have found myself. I return a changed man. A change that is ever enduring, everlasting. My heart is stronger than ever before. My light is more radiant than ever before. My fire is hotter than ever, and my ability to wield and bend its shape is now unparalleled. As well, what I have found on this pilgrimage is that it was not just about the princess. There was much more waiting for me there than that. I had received another energetic weapon. I encountered a wise man, a skilled man, a knowledgeable one, an adept one. In my eyes, one of the only true warriors that I've seen in my travels. And he gifted me this. A resonance bracelet. One that promotes a state of calm, a state of balance and harmony, which is exactly what I needed. And the effects are visceral. As I held the bracelets that he gave me in my hand, I felt a distinct, immediate change in my energy with each one providing a different kind of change. Not only this, I came to encounter a group of children from my home city, out far on a band trip. I encountered an old ragged lady who asked me for a toonie. Then she asked me for a $5 bill, and I gave her a 20. And she told me, "Wow, this is a large tip." And I said, "Yes, this is how valuable you are." And she reached her hand out to me, and I shook her hand. I also encountered a man playing the piano at the university in this town. He played beautifully. And we connected heart to heart. I shared my story. He shared his, both going through trials, through tribulations, yet affirming to ourselves and each other that we will make it through and grow. I met a group of boys, and we spent the latter half of yesterday all together. I went with them to go work out, to go to the sauna, to play basketball. It was a wonderful time. And as well, in this foreign land, the city spoke to me, the terrain spoke to me, the river that was like a ravine, the ground which was orange with dust, with mineral, the sky which was clear, clear sun, thin air, humble architecture, humble people in this foreign land. I noticed how society was different from where my home is. The openness, willingness of people to connect was refreshing. And one after the other, I met person after person after person. I prayed with my brothers. I had pizza with my brothers. We exchanged stories, exchanged perspectives. And I just had a wonderful time. I explored cafes. The best cafe that I've ever been to. This morning I was there. I returned home triumphant. Not because I have won the princess over, but because I have won myself over. This whole journey was truly for myself, for me to choose myself, finally, after my whole life in waiting. To rise up to the occasion, to take the throne. That was waiting for me this whole time, all along. And I am so glad to have claimed myself, my crown, my royal robes, my dignity, and my heart. Thank you for listening to my account. here's to many more adventures to come.